Hey, what's up, homestead homies? It's Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. Sitting on the front porch, doing a little picking, a little grinning. I'm going to talk about this thing, and it's coming up in a future video. But today, what I want to talk about is one of the questions that we get asked a lot of is about the log cabin. So today, we're going to go over the log cabin on the exterior. I'm going to explain to you guys how it all came together, give you some ideas about the wood, and hopefully that'll answer some of the questions that we get regularly. The log cabin, because this is one of the main questions that we get, and then we're just going to kind of walk around. I'm going to give you guys an overview on how we put it together, what was our inspiration, and what materials did we use. Okay, so these logs, each one is 4-inch thick and 1 foot wide. Okay, from top to bottom, 4-inch thick, 1 foot wide. This is white oak wood. Okay, white oak is like I think the first, at the least the second highest R value that you can get to use for a log home. Okay, all these logs are local. We had them cut and milled at the sawmill. I guess they call this like a square cut. You know, a lot of log homes are round, and ours are square, because what happens is the log goes through the sawmill. They cut off the top, they cut off the bottom, and then they cut off the sides. And then you tell them, like, you want 2x4s, 2x6s, or whatever. So then that's the process here, is a 4 by 1 foot. Okay. Now, what I did was, when I had the idea of doing this, because we were going to live in a fifth wheeler on our homestead, and we had all kinds of thoughts and ideas how we would live on the homestead. And actually, those shed houses hadn't even really took off. You know, it really wasn't on our radar. Okay, so after we exhausted, I bought an F350 dually, and we were looking for a fifth wheel, a used one, and we were driving all over, and we were almost going to do it. And then I thought about Pioneers, right? The Pioneers, they use sod for houses, and then of course logs, and so that was our main inspiration. So I started studying in our area the log homes, okay? Because we have several of them in our area that are over 100 years old that are still standing. And so I went to them, I studied them, I saw how they were put together, I read some material. We have the Time Life series, the old Cowboys and Indians series with the leather binding books and everything. Somebody noticed that in one of our videos, and I looked through there too, because they talked about how the pioneers came west with nothing, and they, you know, built their homes, and the materials that they used, and of course logs were one of them. Okay, so that's where I got my inspiration from. And then it was a matter of how was I joining them together, because there's several different methods of joining the logs together. Okay, and so I went with what they call a saddle notch. Okay, and I'll bring you in closer in a second, and I'll show you how these go together. But that's the method that we used, is called a saddle notch. So these are white oak, 4 inches by 1 foot, and they're layered on top of each other with a saddle notch cut. And then in between them right here, this is called chinking. Okay, now back in the old days, and still a lot of places they use like a mud and straw mix, kind of like a cob, right? Like Go for Green Living, they built a cob house, okay, and a cob oven outside to cook in. That's the same idea, but this stuff here is basically a man-made thing that you get in a tube. It's called log jam, and it comes in like a caulk tube, a huge caulk tube, and then you put it in there, and then you smooth it out with a little foam brush, and then you use a squirt bottle and you wipe it off whatever you don't want hanging on there. Now, when I did this, of course, I'd never done it before, so I did it a little neat, you know. So a lot of times they'll put it in here, and then you'll see the chinking will be on the both logs, just spread across them, you know, kind of like that. But I don't know, I was like in there making it very nice and neat, making sure it was binding to both woods, but I like the clean look of it. Okay, so it's your preference. The nice thing about the log jam material is that it shrinks and expands with the heat and the temperature, so it won't pull away from the wood. Now, in between each one of these logs, I put Pink Panther insulation. Okay, it's the pink foam stuff that you get, and we cut the strips out and we put them in there. And then also what I did was, like from this log to this log, I drilled a hole through this log and into this log about this far, and then I put in rebar. And I did not do that all over every log and at both ends or nothing. I did kind of a sporadic thing where I would do one here, maybe one over there, maybe one up here, just to kind of give it a little added strength, you know, just for the long haul. But I don't know if it's really necessary, but that's what we did to help sturdy it up just a little bit, okay? So that's it for that. The foundation, we had that hired out, and the only thing, I did two mistakes, okay, that I'll give you the other mistake in another video, but one thing that I kind of regret, it wasn't a mistake, but I just kind of regret, was not spending the extra money and getting the full basement instead of just a crawl space, okay? Because we could use the full basement for sleeping in the summertime. It'll be cooler down there, food storage, you know, just everything. So that was you know, that was a live and learn type of thing. I thought I was, you know, being smart. A crawl space would be good, and you know, I do wish I would have got the full basement. Now in the crawl space, if you do get a crawl space, we put down the thick mill plastic, and then we put down the rock on top of that. So in our crawl space is the thick mill plastic and then the rock. So that holds the moisture out from getting underneath the log cabin, okay? So now I'm gonna bring you guys in, and we're gonna look at a closer look at the saddle notch technique, and then we're just gonna kind of finish up with an overview of the all-around cabin, and hopefully I'll answer all the questions that we routinely get on our channel. What you guys are looking at right here, this is called the saddle notch. All right, I'll try to get you a little better shot of that. So you can see that one log is cut at like a top of a triangle, and then the other log right below it is cut like a rooftop, and then they sit right on one on the other, okay? So that's how they go together. That's what you call a saddle notch. And there's other types of saddle notch. If you ever dealt with like a Lincoln log, that's a form of a saddle notch as well, okay? But this tends to be the more popular saddle notch in our area, and it looks pretty cool, especially with the square logs. All right, so that's how they're all put together. And the one thing, if you go with this type of style, okay, or if you go with a log cabin that's not a kit, it's very ununiform, okay? So like a carpenter guy who's very particular on the angles and the lines and the straightness is going to have a nightmare with this, okay? Because none of it, it's, you know, some logs warp more than others. I mean, you can see some of the lines, you know, they're a little wavy, like right there, you know, so you get a see, there's a big chinking there, and then it's a little thinner, and that's just because that's how the logs dry, and then they make their own shape, so to speak. You can try your best to keep them as straight as you can, but that's just kind of what happens, okay? So the window placements are no big deal. You can put them anywhere you want to, okay? This is where we decided to put this window, and then we put the kitchen window straight across from it just to make it symmetric, and then the front windows, no problem. So basically you have your board, and then you just cut out the area where you want the window, and you frame it in and put it in. Now, one of the questions that we get too is the upstairs, okay? That's the loft area, that's where we sleep. Basically, that's all white oak right there, and I framed it in with 2x4s, 2x6s, you know, your standard normal stick house building material, okay? Then these are the sheets here that I put up, and then you run those strips down them. Let me give you a look here. You run those strips down them to kind of cover up where the two boards that are, you know, the two bigger boards. Here, I'll show you. This board and this board butt up against each other, so there's a seam. So that board covers that seam, okay? That's how that works. So no big deal there. That's all white oak as well. And then that right there on the top, right there, is just a 2x6. Okay, that's what we use for the roofing material. I put those on the end, and then I just stained them with the same stain that I used for the log cabin. So upstairs is very normal. Now there's not trusses up there because that's, of course, is where we have a loft, and that's where our bedroom is, so you couldn't have trusses. So I had to hand build the ridge post and the trusses, the joists up there myself. That's a whole nother story, man. Whew. I can't believe I did it actually, but we got it done. So that's how that all came together, okay? Now, we do have a shingled roof right now, but the plan is that we're going to replace that with a tin roof, so we can collect water off this roof as well. And but that's in the future. Okay. Now I did enclose my fascias and soffits, obviously, and all I did there was just take some plywood and then I stained it, and so it's all sealed up. Caulked a few of the areas that were a little loose, and it's working out fine. Now on this peak here, it's the same thing. The roof is hand built, and then I put the same slats and everything on it, you know, to cover up the ends, and then the same thing with the 2x6s, and then I just stained it just like the rest of the cabin. So that's pretty much it. So that's our main questions are: how thick are the logs, 4 inches by 1 foot, and then what's the stuff in between them? That's called chinking, and we used a product called Log Jam. There's our outdoor shower that we're still working on. Videos to be coming up soon. Then another question is, we ask about the crawl space. Do we have one, or is it a basement, or nothing? And you know, and then about the roof, about like the trusses or how that all went together. Again, I just took some white oak that we had left over on the project, and I made me my little trap door for the crawl space. So that works out really good. And then of course, you know, your porch is a pretty standard issue. No problems there. It's just a porch like everybody's porch. And then I did those handrails. I'll link a video above about the handrails that I put together for the cabin. And I just took some local trees that are known to have, you know, they last a long time. They don't rot or anything. And then I cut them up and made the handrails and the spindles. That was a neat little do-it-yourself project, totally on the cheap. Good for the homestead. So that's it. So hopefully I got a few of the questions answered, and we're hold on a second here, let me put this down and I'll finish out the video for you. Alright guys, so hopefully that answers some of the questions that you guys are asking about the log cabin. Also, I'll say that a lot of people ask how much money did it cost, and we have roughly about $15,000–$16,000 in the total build, from the foundation all the way up to the shingles. Okay, so you can build one of these, and it's, you know, it's relatively, I mean, it's in the budget, but you know, you have to pay for all your materials up front, or unlike a shed build. If you get one of those shed houses, then you can kind of rent that, pay for it as you go, and then kind of work on the inside. Okay, like I said, we were going to get a 5th wheel trailer. The ones we were looking at, because they had to be 4 seasons, because we definitely have 4 seasons where we live, was a lot more expensive than putting up this log cabin that's permanent. Okay, and that's it. I mean, our value on it's really good. It stays cool. If it gets cool at night in the summertime, we can pull the windows closed and the drapes closed in the morning, and then that'll stay cool inside till 2–3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, in the wintertime, it's freezing cold outside. We have the wood cook stove going, and it stays pretty toasty in there during the wintertime. All right, so it's a good situation. So what I have right here is the through night headlamp. You guys might have saw the video that we did. I'll link it right here about the through night headlamp. And we're not giving away this one. We're giving away a brand new one in the box. And we're going to do that on July 4th at 7 p.m. We're going to pick the winner, and then on Tuesday, July 5th, 2016, you'll see who won the headlamp, and we'll get it shipped off to you. Okay, what we're going to do is, from this comment, today's Thursday, you guys are watching this video, so Thursday's video, Friday's video, Sunday's video, and Monday's video till 7 o'clock, July 4th, we will take one comment from each video, and we will put it in a hat like we did before, and we'll draw the winner. Okay, and then we'll ship it off to you. And knowing that not maybe everyone who leaves a comment is interested in the headlamp, we're going to ask that in your comment you have to write Daisy somehow in your comment, and then we'll know that you're interested in the headlamp. Okay, so you write Daisy in your comment. So when we randomize the comments, and if your comment doesn't say Daisy in it, then we're going to randomize another comment to find the one that says Daisy. That's from this video, today's Thursday, all the way through July 4th at 7 p.m. and then we'll pick a winner and we'll get it shipped out to you. As always, we appreciate you guys checking us out, sharing our videos. I hope you guys really liked the bentonite clay and charcoal video. That was awesome. Hope you guys are passing these videos around, posting them on your Facebook, helping us get the word out. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. This is Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and I'm Doug, and that's a wrap.